In the past 12 months or so, we have seen many different organizations add a lot more staff, and so it's no longer just an owner and then the 5 guys playing on the team. We've got general managers, coaches, etc. Among those people is Steve Perino, also known as Joka, and he's here with me right now, general manager of Team Liquid. So first off, what is your handle? Because I've heard Joka, Joka Steve, all these things.
Yeah, Joka Steve, idiot. I mean, whatever. Yeah, it works.
Is that how what they call you internally on the team?
Yeah, definitely. It's definitely just like I'm the guy that takes all the heat, you know.
Well, there's always got to be one of those guys. Mine is my video producer. Every group has one. No, so it's kind of confusing because there's two Steves. There's Steve Arhanset. I've never really figured out how to say his last name. Was that right?
Arnset, yeah.
Arhanset, who's the owner, Liquid, so there's two Steves, there's two Liquids, and there's one Steve and Liquid that are the same person, and then you're also managing the team. So how long ago did you start doing this?
It's been around 7 months now, yeah.
And what has the experience been like, and what have your responsibilities expanded into over the course of those 7 months?
So I started as the guy who was kind of like running the store, and I was like doing a lot of just like the housework, like the nitty gritty stuff. And I was kind of like, oh man, this is kind of like run a lot differently than I would have thought. And I was kind of like, Steve, like, do you care like if I start chiming in and like helping with things that the team needs or wants? And he was like, sure. At that point, we weren't even gonna like make playoffs last split, and he was like, do whatever you want. Like, I don't care at this point. I'm like, damn, all right, like, let's do it. And so, yeah, that's how I kind of like fell into this job. PAX last year, he was like, manage everything. He forwarded me like every single email. It was like 80 emails. He was like, just figure it out. Like, I don't want to worry about this weekend. And if you do good, you got the job. So that's kind of how I got here.
Let's take a step back. How did you end up with the store position? Because one of the questions I get so often, and I think a lot of people in the industry get, is like, how do I get into esports or whatever? So how did you get the store management job?
How I really got the job was I got a little drunk and played some ARAMs with Steve.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, so anything could happen apparently. So you're encouraging people who are of legal age to get drunk and then approach owners of teams for jobs.
Yeah, definitely. That's how you get in, right?
So were you living in California? Did you know him at the time? Like, how did this happen?
No, so I was a professional Counter-Strike player actually. And so I kind of had like sort of ends with like the behind the scenes people, like some of the people at Razer. And I just found my way in a ARAM with Steve one time, and we were both just kind of like funny, like joking around, like messing with each other. And we just started like duoing a bunch. And it was like, yeah, it just kind of like built up over time. I would like bug Steve. I'd be like, yo, give me a job, give me a job, give me a job. And just kind of found that way, yeah.
So in my personal interactions with you and seeing you around, and from what I've heard, you actually are a very, very, very busy man. So despite the fact that Steve is the owner of the company, you seem to have a lot of responsibilities. So what is like maybe not day-to-day, but week-to-week include for you or involve?
Yeah, it changes like every single week. Some days it's like just answering a bunch of emails, sending out like fan shirts. Maybe one day Piglet is just craving some food and like I have to go get it. It just like every day is so different in terms of I do a lot with like the content creation that we do. I just help everywhere. Like the role general manager is really general. Like there's so much that you do. I would say a realistic week for me, I'm putting at least like 80 hours in at least.
That is crazy. I will never become a general manager of a team because I like to sit back, relax, and let my video producer do all the work. But yeah, no, that's very, very impressive. And I think a lot of people don't know exactly what it takes for the drain or like the commitment it takes for people that are working in some of these positions in esports. So it's really, really fascinating. Kind of transitioning over to perhaps a less light subject. You guys just played Cloud9. Last week, you guys ended as the top team in the league at 2-0 exclusively. They ended up as the arguably worst team in the league at a exclusive 0-2. You guys just played. You should have beat them, right, based on the scores, right, and you lost. So what do you think happened in that match?
I really think the match itself came down to us not reading the lane swap properly. We didn't want to lane Sivir Leona against against the Callista and who else? Annie. So like we did an improper invade, didn't get the vision out that we were supposed to, and yeah, I'm not gonna make an HTC plug right now.
Now, this is the best part: is people can't hear the vibration, but his phone is vibrating right now, and it is, of course, as many people are aware, an HTC phone. And so the opportunity for him to pull a Steve is fantastic.
Scripted, no.
It is. I'm sure it was. I'm sure. No, that was good. That's so funny. Either way, getting back to the game, Piglet this is his first match on the team. After that game, I saw somebody tweet, "Why was Piglet subbing in for Keith this week?" So obviously, a lot of people are going to look at the fact that Keith was very good for the team last week, and Piglet lost his first game with you guys. What is the takeaway from that, and what do you do to move forward? Do you just send him back to Korea right now?
No, so I think obviously people overreact a lot. Like Cloud9 being 0-2 last week was really no indication of where they'll probably end up at the end of the split. But Piglet's first game was obviously not what we had wanted. I'm sure it's not what he wanted. He's a very emotional guy. So my main concern is like making sure he's happy, like his head's in the right place going into tomorrow. And in terms of Keith, no disrespect to Keith, but I don't think he's quite the Piglet yet. So definitely not a good showing for his first match, but he's going to kick some ass this season.
Sounds good. Well, hey, thank you so much, Joka Steve, for the interview. It's always good to get an insight into what happens behind the scenes. Hopefully people will start to realize that there are two Steves and that you were one of them. Yes. That would be very good. For everyone else, you can check out the rest of our coverage of all things LCS at ongamers.com.